Reba's Place sits in the heart of Atoka, Oklahoma, a quiet little town not far from where Reba grew up in southeastern Oklahoma. Reba's Place is a combination restaurant, bar, live music venue, and retail store. Constructed in an old Masonic temple, the venue features 2 stories of dining space with a stage for regular live music. A library, retail shop, and speakeasy are located on the 3rd level.
We built the speakeasy to feel very comfortable but still upscale so that anybody could feel like they could come in and have a good time. So during normal operating hours, we'll have one of our top mixologists up here staffing our bar cart, and they make all the drinks as custom as you'd like them to be. We have a special list of cocktails that are only available in the speakeasy, but then we also have the ability to craft something completely unique and original anytime somebody wants to come up here. We've got a library of over 100 bourbons in the building, the highest end of which are only located up here in the speakeasy, along with some very, very high-end scotches and ryes and other brown spirits. And of course, you can get yourself a gin and tonic if that's what you prefer. The sky's the limit once you get into the speakeasy.
The main floor showcases a restored antique bar that is more than 100 years old and offers a broad range of beer, wine, and spirits crafted into signature cocktails. The aesthetics of the venue are heavily influenced by Reba's Western heritage and include a curated collection of memorabilia from her personal archives that will regularly change. The retail space features a combination of merchandise created just for the new venture, along with established Reba favorites. The menu includes popular dishes from the region and beyond, all made from scratch and from local ingredients. Highlights include the fancy steak dinner, street tacos, chicken fried steak, and Reba's personal favorite, pinto beans and cornbread. Many of the recipes can be found in her new lifestyle book, Not That Fancy, Simple Lessons on Living, Loving, Eating, and Dusting Off Your Boots, available now via Harper Celebrate.
All right, hey everybody, this is really, really special. I'm here with Chef Curtis Mortensen of Reba's Place. Great to see you, Chef.
Great to see you guys too. Welcome.
Super excited. We're here at Reba's Place in Atoka, Oklahoma. Buddy's going to hop behind the camera and kind of follow us along as we kind of take a look at some recipes that you can order here at Reba's Place.
Let's get cooking. All right, so the first thing that we're going to work on today is Reba's crispy smashed potatoes. This is one of our signature dishes, and it's one of the ones that's closest to Reba's heart. So it's most important a couple of things. The first is we always season our water when we're going to blanch our potatoes. So seasoning for us doesn't just mean salt. It means salt, fresh herbs. In this case, we've got some nice thyme, whole peppercorns, and a few whole cloves of freshly peeled garlic. We bring those in, and this water is at room temperature or cool. We want them to be about the same temperature that the potatoes are, so that as we bring them up to temperature, they're coming up at the same time so that they don't get overcooked on the outside while they're still undercooked on the inside. So we bring those in, we turn them on to a high flame, we get it up just to a simmer, and then we're going to cook them until they're tender when you go to push the tip of a knife into it.
And then that garlic infuses in with the potatoes, right?
Yep. So when they're done, the potatoes are already going to be delicious. So you take them out, they'll taste like garlic and thyme, toss them with a little bit of butter, you can eat them just like that. But that's not good enough for us. We have to take it a couple of steps further. So once our potatoes are fully cooked and nice and soft, we're going to chill them down at least to the point where you can comfortably hold them with your fingers, but they can be all the way cooled as well. Then you're going to take either the flat edge of a knife or a spatula or even the back of your hand if you want, but something flat works better, and smash them out until they're fairly flat in a fairly even way. It's not crucial that they stay together, but it makes it a lot easier to cook them if they stay in whole pieces, but if they fall apart, it's okay. Go ahead and cook them anyway. Once you've got your potatoes all smashed, then you're going to want to get some roasted garlic. We cook this at a very low temperature in olive oil in the oven until it's absolutely ready to smash apart. We do the same thing with it that we do with the potatoes. And then we just run a knife through it very, very quickly. It doesn't need to be chopped up much because it's cooked to the point where it might as well be a paste as it is. We also have some onions that we've cooked very slowly until they're almost as cooked as the garlic was. So for the next stage, we're going to take this smashed roasted garlic, these caramelized onions, and our newly smashed potatoes over to the saute pan, and we're going to cook them off so they're nice and crispy on the outside. We're going to go to about a medium flame, and we're going to start to let the pan heat a little bit. You don't want your pan to be cold when you begin the process, but you don't want it to be so hot that you're going to scorch your fat either. In this case, our fat is going to be whole salted butter. We do most of our cooking with butter here. And mostly because we just think that it tastes better than any other cooking medium. So you find lots of butter in everything we do. Our goal is to get it to the point where it's sizzling nicely. It's universally melted throughout the pan, but not yet to the point where it's started to brown. We're going to let that happen when the potatoes are in the pan with the butter. So now that it's sizzling, most of the water's cooking out. We're going to be left with just that nice bubbly aromatic butter. We're going to slide these smashed potatoes into the pan. It's important not to overcrowd the pan. If you've got too many potatoes for the amount you're serving, either do it in batches or get a bigger pan.
And why is that?
If you crowd the pan too much, then you start releasing a lot of steam. And when the steam comes out, then the potatoes won't get crispy. So this is fine. You leave a little bit of space in between. It doesn't have to be empty. And then adjust your temperature to where it's medium-lowish. Hot so that it's sizzling, but not so hot that the butter is going to scorch. Very quickly, the potatoes will start to fall apart just a little bit around the edges. We like that. We like all the little crispy bits. And because the potatoes are all the way cooked, all we're striving for is to get the nice crispy edges and to make sure that they're piping hot all the way through.
And while that's doing that, you were talking about how this was one of the first dishes, one of the most personal dishes to Miss Reba.
Yeah.
What did she tell you about it?
So she sent me pictures when we were first talking about the menu of her cooking this at home with a steak and an avocado, and she's telling me about it and how she smashes them, how she does it. She's like, these have got to be on the menu. They're so good. Rex and I love them. And so I was paranoid. You know, I cook a lot of things, but as we were working through the process, I had the photos up on my cell phone that she'd sent me, and I'm making sure that our first batches of crispy smashed potatoes look exactly like the ones that she sent me in the picture. And it's turned out to be very popular. I think probably a quarter of our diners order these crispy smashed potatoes with whatever else they're eating. So.
Well, they look and smell amazing. I know they're not done, but smells wonderful.
You can see the butter starting to brown and get that nice golden color to it. We want to watch it and make sure that it doesn't get overcooked. At this stage, they're going to stick together pretty well. We're going to flip them one more time, and at that point, they might start to break up a little bit. Notice I seasoned them with salt on the first side. I'm going to season them with salt on the second side, and I'm going to add a little bit of fresh ground pepper. Before we do our second flip, I'm going to add in the caramelized onions to the pan. And I'm going to add in a little bit of that chopped roasted garlic.
Now, what's the secret to not burning garlic when you cook it? Because I'll tell you, me and garlic have a love-hate relationship. I love garlic. Garlic does not love me.
So the big thing is temperature control. And I think that when I watch a lot of people cook that don't cook constantly every day, they seem to feel like the stove has one setting, which is all the way on, or the other setting all the way off. And I think regulating the temperature of your fire is one of the biggest things with cooking stuff that's delicate like garlic that wants to get bitter. When we roast this in the oven, we do it at a very low temperature. We do it at about 250 degrees. And we keep it sealed so that the temperature stays in with the garlic instead of, and the moisture, instead of evaporating out and letting it get too dry and being apt to scorch.
Oh, beautiful.
And you can see how nice and crispy they're getting, both on the surface and around the edges, getting nice and hot, and they're starting to fall apart a little bit. And again, the more they fall apart, the more chances you have to have nice crispy edges, and we don't mind that at all.
This smells good.
Okay, so now we are pretty much hot all the way through. We've got our nice crispy edges. Going to give it just a couple of quick tosses to make sure that the onions and the garlic are evenly distributed around the potatoes. And that gets us about where we want to be. So now we have our beautiful potatoes, nice and crispy, piping hot. We're going to transfer those into our service bowl.
Oh, so you don't mash them together like mashed potatoes. You kind of
Nope.
serve them like potato medallions.
Yep, and that's why we call
really
them
cool.
smashed instead of mashed.
That's awesome.
And we try to make sure we get all of the little crispy bits. But we try to leave the excess grease in the pan. So, and then our garnish on these is very simple. We just use some freshly chopped chives. And those are Reba's crispy smashed potatoes.
It's mushy, but it's crispy. It's, wow. Okay. Here we go.
Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Oh, Chef, that is wonderful.
That's
Well,
wonderful.
thank you.
This is some of the most complexly flavored mashed potatoes, smashed potatoes I've ever had. It's like mashed potato combined with a baked potato. It's amazing.
It's a pretty cool dish. It's. I remember when the first time that Reba came out just before we opened and she tried our version, we were all sweating bullets, and she was like, "Nope, you guys nailed it. This is great."
She did tell us. She said, let me know if you're doing anything wrong. So far, so good.
So far, so good, Reba. Now it's time for a little bit of chicken fried. Wrong artist, I know, but we got chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak is the most popular item here at Reba's Place. Everybody in Oklahoma loves chicken fried steak. We start ours with, a lot of places will use round or some of the cheaper cuts. We use either strip loin or sirloin here, and it comes from Choctaw beef. So all of our beef comes from ranches right outside of Atoka. It's processed here, never goes more than 150 miles from where we're standing right now. So we have truly, truly local beef from our partners with the Choctaw Nation. So this has been passed through a tenderizer so that it is nice and tender, but it already starts out pretty good. But this will eat much more like a steak than like your typical deep fried fritter. So we're going to season it on both sides, and then we're going to go through a 3-step breading process. Our breading steps are seasoned as well already. We have what we call our foundation flour, which is a combination of regular wheat flour and a little bit of corn masa like you use to make tortillas. And then it's flavored with one of our signature seasoning blends that we make here. We're going to dust that on both sides. And then we're going to go into egg whites. A lot of people in their breadings will use milk or whole eggs or any other number of things, but really all you're looking for is protein to make sure that the flour and the breading sticks. So we don't mess around with any of those other ingredients. We just use the egg whites because we just want the proteins. And then we go into our third step, which is flour and cracker meal. The cracker meal gives it a very distinct texture that is a little crispier than it would be if it was just flour. It gives it a little more substance, and it kind of stands up to the gravy a little bit better. So once we've got it nicely breaded, it's gotten a little bigger. Down in all the cracks, you've got kind of the nice little bumpy texture from that, and you can see that the steak's kind of falling apart already because it's so tender. It barely wants to hold together. Okay, nicely breaded. We're going to transition to the stove. As with most of the stuff here at Reba's, we start with whole butter. This is a big difference between the way that we do chicken fried steak and the way that a lot of places do, is we don't cook them in a deep fryer. We cook them on a griddle or in a pan, and we cook them in whole butter, which gives it much more flavor than if you were to just deep fry them in fryer oil. They're not as crispy, but as you'll see, they get nice and brown and crisp in their own way.
Well, I think that's good because the chicken fried steaks that I've had, not to speak ill of any one place in particular, but it can kind of fall into the trap of like breading and then tasting like cardboard on the inside.
Exactly. We think the breading is delicious on this, but it's chicken fried steak, not chicken fried breading. So we want you to taste the steak, and especially as proud as we are of the beef that we use here.
And it's great that it's all local.
Yeah, that's been a big priority for us with everything. We use as much Oklahoma product as we can with our food, with our beverages. We've got a huge selection of Oklahoma spirits and craft beers. We use Oklahoma products in our store whenever we can. Reba's proud of where she's from, and we try to make sure that we exhibit that in what we do.
Not only that, with the Choctaw Nation, can you talk a little bit more about how the Choctaw Nation has influenced the menu and the ingredients that you use?
Yeah, so the restaurant is a partnership between Reba and the Choctaw, and that came on very early in the project, and she's been working with them doing performances for a long time, and so it was a very natural fit. As we worked in the Choctaw presence here, we made sure to incorporate as much of that identity as we could inside the Reba brand, especially relying on the relationship that they already had and the legacy that they've had together. So whenever possible, things like Choctaw beef, local products that are manufactured by members of the Choctaw Nation, which we call Chottapreneurs, are used throughout the business. Now this doesn't take very long to cook through. We're just kind of waiting to start to see some juices coming through the surface, and when the butter on the top starts to melt a little bit, then we know that it's about time to flip. By putting the butter on the top the way that we do, it refreshes the butter in the pan for the little bit that's going to be absorbed in, and it makes sure that we have some directly under the steak when we flip it.
How many years have you been a chef?
20. I started cooking when I was 16,
Wow.
So I guess we're headed into 26 years.
And I'm assuming, again, the success of the basting comes down to temperature then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So with basting, if you're too cold, you end up soft and greasy. If you're too hot, your butter scorches, ruins the flavor. So temperature control is critical with this dish as well. And we are pretty much there.
Doesn't take long at all.
Doesn't take long at all. The meat being tenderized and the steak being relatively thin, and then being able to cook top and bottom with the heat of the basting and the heat coming from underneath makes it a very quick cook. We make our mashed potatoes here as smooth as we can make them, and when we put them together, we also incorporate browned butter. So we brown the butter in a pan until it looks about like this, and then we cool it back off. So when the time comes to incorporate it into the mashed potatoes, we get a lot of that brown butter flavor right in the potatoes themselves.
Man, forget Reba's place. This is Matt's place. I love me some brown butter.
And then we'll take our steak right out of the pan.
Oh, wow.
Rest it on the edge of the potatoes. And then we top the whole thing off with our cracked black pepper cream gravy, which has a little secret ingredient of some minced jalapeno that gives it a whole bunch of flavor. And we use a little bit of bacon fat in this gravy when we make it. And that is our Reba's Place signature chicken fried steak, buttery, rich, delicious Choctaw beef.
The best mashed potatoes and the best chicken fried steak I've ever had. Yeah. That's amazing. All right, Chef, what's on the menu for dessert?
Okay, this is Reba's very favorite dessert in the world, the thing we had to have, and it is strawberry shortcake.
Ooh.
The most important thing to her was it's got to be juicy, lots of juice around the things, and it's got to be done with angel food cake. She doesn't like that overly southern biscuity strawberry shortcake. I love all strawberry shortcake. I'll take it any way you want to give it to me, but ours is made with angel food cake. So we start off with fresh strawberries. We cut them into fairly regular but not necessarily perfect pieces. Nothing special about them at this point. Once they're cut up, we sugar them, and there's no particular amount. It's just enough to make sure that they're well covered. And it's really the sugar. It's going to draw all the liquid out of the berries and eventually turn into that syrupy juice that Reba loves so much. So once they kind of look well snowed over, then we're good on the sugar. We're going to add in a part of a vanilla bean, and then we're going to splash in a little bit of orange liqueur.
Kids, that'll cook out in the baking.
Yeah, tell yourself that. But, we get the liqueur and the sugar, and then you got to bring patience into it. So these have got to sit for a few hours at least, and it's really best to let them go overnight if you can wait. And what you're trying to get to is the point where they start to break down like this. And they become very, very juicy. And there's nothing added to this aside from the sugar and that little bit of liqueur. Otherwise, it's just all the juice from the strawberries themselves and the flavor from the vanilla bean. Our next step is to actually assemble the shortcakes. So we make our little shortbreads here kind of in the same shape and size that you would make a biscuit. So it's our little cry out to the fact that a lot of Southerners do the biscuit shortbread. We kind of do a hybrid, but we use the just with the look of the biscuits. We put 3 of our little angel food cake on there, and then we're going to top it with strawberries. And with every scoop we want to get both berries and juice, and we're not trying to be overly perfect in the way that we do the positioning. We just want to make sure that we've got lots of berries, lots of beautiful juice, and we really want it to soak into that shortcake. And then, because strawberry shortcake is not a thing without whipped cream, we're going to put a little too much whipped cream.
Amazing.
One big dollop for each and every piece of shortcake. And that is Reba's strawberry shortcake.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of that.
Little berry, little everything, right?
Oh, going for number 2 already.
The strawberry fell off. Well, spongy. Perfect whipped cream. The juice is not overly tangy. That's really good.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you, Chef, for the demonstration of these 3 delicious recipes that in about an hour from now I will be ordering when we sit down. Before we let you go, we have to talk about Not That Fancy, because Reba's book is out now, and you helped with the recipes that are in this book. Her first ever, and Buddy, correct me if I'm wrong, her first ever recipe book, correct? Yes.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that process and deciding what recipes we're going to go in here, and what from the menu here at Reba's Place, and what that isn't on the menu that you helped pass along.
So when we developed the recipes for the cookbook and tried to pick out what they were, it was before the restaurant had actually opened. So we were trying to figure out the recipes that we thought were going to be most loved before anybody besides us had a chance to try them. So we really stuck with things that we knew Reba loved and that were important to her. So the strawberry shortcake and the crispy smashed potatoes are both in the book. They're Reba classics, Reba favorites that we try to elevate to a whole other level in her restaurant here.
Do you have a favorite recipe in the book?
Boy, that is, picking a favorite recipe is always hard for me. It's like picking between my kids.
Right.
There is a recipe in there that is for butter lettuce with pickled peaches as a salad. That is one that you just can't sleep on during peach season. It is a spectacular, spectacular salad, and it's going to be coming back to the restaurant here very soon as Porter peaches come on to the trees. So, a great recipe.
Well, Chef Curtis Mortensen here at Reba's Place, head chef here in Atoka, Oklahoma. Just like the book, Reba's Place is not that fancy, but it sure is delicious. Curtis, thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. We're in Atoka, Oklahoma. We are talking all about Reba's Place and her new book, Not That Fancy. We have Laura here from Las Vegas all the way to Atoka, Oklahoma, mixologist extraordinaire, showing us one of the one of the drinks in the books. Excuse me. I'm about 2 sheets to the wind right now because that Atoka float has like so much alcohol in it. But we're not going to go over the Atoka float right now. We are going to go over the red-headed Rita, which I keep wanting to call the red-headed Reba because
yeah,
right.
It should have been the red-headed Reba.
So I see you're all set up here. Talk us through it.
Okay, this is so fun. This is one of our best sellers. And if you find yourself here in Atoka, Oklahoma, you have got to come and check us out. We're going to do tequila, 1.5 ounces. Here we go. A little bit of Salerno, which is an orange liqueur, and that's only going to be a half. There we go. Beautiful. And ancho liqueur chili. This is really special because it's going to bring that spice that we all know Reba's got.
Oh, yeah.
And a prickly pear puree. Here we go.
Now, I saw you, actually, it was this one. Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
What's that one?
This is lime.
Lime?
Juice, and it's fresh squeezed, but this one is our homemade raspberry puree.
Yes, I saw you kind of mixing that up earlier. Tell me about that.
So we try and get everything as fresh as we can here at Reba's, and the raspberries are always easy to get, and we just mash them up really quick with a little bit of simple syrup. So that's the secret, and to keep it fresh, it does bring a really good taste to our margarita.
So how long have you been a mixologist?
11 years.
Wow.
Time goes by so fast. Obviously, I just turned 21. So since I was a child.
What got you started doing that?
I love people. I love hanging out with people. I want to get to know you. I want to just, and I think this is a great way to hang out and have fun and, get to know each other.
Just in the little time we've been here, you know how crazy we are already.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know.
So you don't strain it through the ice. You put the ice in. Wow.
Yes. Here we go. So now you're going to tell me how it tastes.
Yes, I am, because I've already had the alcohol. Buddy, you take the book. I don't want to spill anything on that book. Cheers from Reba's Place to all of you out there. Wow. Wow. Come on,
Let
come
me
on.
see.
Come on
You
in.
ready?
Come on in. That's so fresh.
Refreshing.
Oh.
There's a little bit, a hint of spice in the back of the throat, and you can taste the freshness of the fruit. You don't really taste the alcohol.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I noticed too here at Reba's Place, there's a lot of bourbon.
Yes.
Chef was telling us there's over 100 bourbon. Is that a Choctaw thing? Is that a Reba thing? How did bourbon become so important to this restaurant's identity?
Southern Eastern Oklahoma, they love whiskey, and it's all about making people feel at home. Reba loves whiskey, so we got inspired with Reba and Atoka, and we created our wall. So it's more than 100. Right now we have more than 103 bourbons.
Wow.
And we have all kinds of prices and all kinds of delicious tastes. And I love that we can get to do something that Reba enjoys in the community too, because I got to do my research. So.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. This was okay. I'm stealing this. Okay. Bye. No, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, you're fabulous. Keep mixing, man. You're
Bye,
a star.
guys. Thank you.
Recipes taken from Not That Fancy, Simple Lessons on Living, Loving, Eating, and Dusting Off Your Boots by Reba McEntire. Copyright 2023 by Reba McEntire. Used by permission of Harper Celebrate. Also available via UMG Nashville is Not That Fancy on CD and double vinyl. The project features 13 of her biggest hits stripped down with the new song 7 Minutes in Heaven.